Yeah. Hello, everyone. This side, Navin Vatsa. I'm a photographer from, you can say, Delhi, India. And today, exactly, it's one of the interesting thing that Mr. Subodh Shetty has started. So during this lockdown, so we all are here to share our views, or you can say share our passion of photography through this technique of you can say internet, you can technique of video conferencing, and the technique of this Zoom. So we are today live with this session. Now, as initially mentioned, photography, the language of third eye. So what exactly mean third eye to me? So I'm going to share my own views, some of photograph as example for that. And I will try to make you people understand what the third eye mean to me. Even for every photographer, exactly every people has two eyes. So when suppose we are at a place, we all are standing there to click something. Every people is able to see the same thing. But when your mind start reading something different out of those elements in front of you, so then the role of third eye starts. And what we make with the third eye, that is your photograph, that is your image, that is your vision, that is your story. So it's always important to be a different, or every person has a different visions. It means every person has a different third eye, or you can also say mind sight. So we create photograph through our mind sight, not with the two eyes. So what the next point that is through the slide that I want to show to all of you, that your photographs portray a lot about you, like what you think, what you feel, what you do, how you behave, what you speak, almost everything about your personality. And if it's not visible through your artwork or your photographs, means you are not doing right thing. Or better to say, you are trying to put your feet in others' shoes. As sometimes back, Subodh said, he was comparing the work of Mr. Vinit Vora and the work of me. So he says it's a North Pole and a South Pole like things. So he loved, Mr. Vinit Vora loved to shoot during chaos, in all chaos area. But just opposite to that, I love to shoot silence. So that is a part of my personality, that is a part of my everyday life, you can say. Not from some years, like even from beginning of my journey, when I was in school, I was just 5 year old. So I love loneliness, you can say. I love separation from the things. So so what exactly I feel, what exactly I think, that is a part of my photograph also. So the simple thing, so read self before clicking anything, before picking camera, before doing anything, before going to shoot anything. The important thing, what we are, it's very important. You must be in your photographs. My simple thought is, if your photograph is able to present you, then it's worth. Otherwise, if your personality, if your lifestyle, or if your thought process is not coming through your photographs, then there is no use of that. So read self, then read your own photographs first, and give a right direction to your journey. Sometimes what we do exactly as a photographer, it's very common thing. There are so many people doing, like they are influenced from some photographers of past, like from 60s or 70s or 80s, and accordingly what they have done, people try to do the similar things. They may get popular because of their style and something, but they are not be able to present himself or herself in their own photograph. So my journey basically starts with my own lifestyle, my own working style, my own thoughts. So it's very important. So whatever I try to do, just I'm showing some of my photographs that basically very much connecting to me. So I think it's visible to all.
Yes, yes,
So
we
this,
can see it.
Yes, yes.
yeah. So let's see this, the simplicity of this image that I took in Delhi. So there is a place in Delhi called Yamuna Ghat. So 3 years back, I have started shooting this place when I came to know about this place, and suddenly got, you can say, got connected to the place. So from last 3 years, almost last 3 years, I went to this place more than 300 times. I don't have more than 30 photographs of this place, but I went to this place for more than 300 times. So I have invested a lot of time to understand this place, the behavior of people around this, or some animals around this, and try to understand the nature also. So if you will find even in next few images also, I am very much connected with nature. Like you will find birds in my photograph, you will find trees, you will find river, clouds, the water bodies. So these things are, you can say, very much connected with me, and that, so that I love to shoot those things in my photograph. So basically, what exactly, I'm a street photographer, I'm a travel photographer also, but my main priority is always on, you can say, street. So when I travel, I try to do the photography with, you can say, in a street manner. I try to first connect those elements in front of me. I try to catch those moments. I try to read those moments. I try to observe the area, and then I shoot. So this is a very simple photograph where I try, after reading this behavior of this dog, for, you can say, reading behavior is not a minute work, or half an hour work, or a 1 hour work. It's basically reading of so many, you can say, days. So this is the early morning shot, and there is a front, you can say, the face, the all things, the expressions, like slightly is funny also. But I try to connect with all elements. See, in the back, in the right side of this image, uh, the two little girls are playing in the left side, and one man is feeding the birds. And everywhere there are some activity, the trees, leaves, everything connecting with each other. So even this image is very near to, you can say, the nature. Coming to the second example, this another moment.
Navinji, if I can interrupt, the previous
Yes, yes,
picture,
yes, sure, bro.
in the previous picture, what is the focal length, if I could ask? How close were you?
Yeah, I'm completely close to this. So when I shoot this, this was captured almost 3 years back, and on that time I was using a wide angle camera, a wide angle lens 11-16 for my crop body. So I took this photograph at 16 mm.
Okay, okay.
So that's why I'm too much close. So it's actually, with time I have experimented 16 mm, I have experimented with 24 mm and 28 mm in a street. So these three focal lengths I have used in the street: 16 mm also, 24 mm also, 28 mm also.
All right, all right.
So this was at 16 mm.
Okay.
So this is the another next photograph. You can say slightly a confusing one, slightly interesting one also. You can say the activities are going. Basically, the man is cleaning the glass, the front glass, the windshield of a bus. Uh, and suddenly I realized from outside, like it's a very normal activity, but a sudden realization ki if I click this situation from the inside, so the gate was open, so front gate of that bus was open and suddenly I entered, clicked 2 shots and just came out immediately. So it's like a moment of fraction of second that happened. Even the bus owner, after coming out from the bus, he asked me, why you entered in my bus. So I just talked to him and I said, actually I'm a photographer, and I realized something is interesting thing is happening, that's why I clicked. So he was not worried for that in any way. So this I photographed, I took this image, a simple one, but slightly, you can say, the mysterious one also. So because of that foam and cleaning, all such things.
But if I may add, I don't know whether you have that picture right now in the slide. There is one more picture, a similar picture, right? The next moment.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
I have two clicks from this similar situation. One, he was in the middle, and one is in the left side.
I think the other picture has the whole hand.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
was
I
the whole
remember that
hand,
picture very well.
and that is a rounded one. That is
Yes.
also creating a home type of a structure also.
Exactly, exactly.
But on that photograph, in the background, there was nothing such. You can say the connecting element here. There is a man. He is standing and looking at this glass also.
True.
So that's why I over here I use this one.
Understood. Understood.
So next is again from the same place that I told you initially, that Yamuna Ghat. I am very much connected to this place, and on that day, this man was basically, you can say, you can understand these things in. Actually, everyone know that India is especially male-dominated country. Still male-dominated country. So such situations actually attracts me much. When I saw the father is preparing his daughters in such a way, so it was very connecting to me, and it was very, you can say, emotionally connected. So I clicked this moment early morning when he was making ready to their daughters. So eldest daughter, he was just doing all such things, and again you can see the right moment at the left one, the another daughter is picking his brother in his lap, and the three branches of the trees above, they are also somehow connecting with the moment from top, and some birds in the background also. So such situations that is of daily life also very much connected to me. So I love to shoot such type of moments. Coming to next, this is a slightly interesting one. On that day to me, that lady came to Yamuna Ghat, and for some, you can say, to offer some puja or something like thing, and her face was hidden, and I was waiting somehow. I want her eye contact. So I deliberately came near to her to get that moment, and as immediate when he turned her face towards me, and the immediate, the sudden contact of her one eye was so much interesting to me, and I clicked this immediately. She did not realize that what I have done, because I was ready previously, as I will get that eye contact, I will shoot her. And in the background you can say also there is another person who is driving, so the frame is almost full, so there is no negative space in this frame. So sometimes I try to put the things in, you can say, like by seeing my primary elements, my eyes are on the secondary elements also, those can complement my primary element. Either sometimes is similar to the primary element, like moment is, or otherwise maybe totally a different one, but still the connectivity with the water or something is in the background also. So in a street, basically we look for moments, as yesterday the master Viritwara also told that the street is all about moments, and moments are in priority, and those smaller moments, those are basically unnoticed by two eyes. So I also try to find those unnoticed moments that we see every day, but we don't know are they composed in a photograph, or that can make a story. But I try my best to find those sudden moments, those interesting moments, those daily life moments, and I try to compose them in a form of story. So let's see this one, a very interesting one that I took in Old Delhi area, where this roadside barber was cutting hair and all such things, and other person is looking in the mirror also. So this was a very, I found it very interesting. I deliberately went near to this situation so that I can get the eye contact. So I don't basically, street photography, as everyone know, it's completely unstaged. But when we go near to our element or subject, especially human or any other element like dog, cat or something, though surprisingly, they see us. So in this particular moment, I try to get that eye contact also. So I think it's visible to all, that eye contact of that person.
Yes, yes, it is.
Uh,
And Naveen, a question from me, Mrinal this side.
yes, yes, sure, sure.
नवीन जी आपकी सारी फोटोज में ना
Mhm.
दिखाई सारी ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट है. Any particular reason to keep all of these in black and white?
Yeah. I will share my thought about black and white because generally in street, when I'm in, especially in a street, so I try to find the colors of life through black and white. I said I try to find the colors through black and white. So what is the reason behind this black and white? All there are so many technical reasons, like sometimes we know that because of high ISO, we go for the black and white. Because of some other regions, like if there is a foggy weather or very rainy one, so we go for black and white. But my mind basically find, you can say, piece of thing in black and white, because the color sometimes very distracting to me, like red color, green color, and everything. So sometimes when I find the moments are not exactly coming out as per my vision, as per my thought, as per my connectivity with the subjects, so I convert all those photographs in black and white. So black and white is basically, you can say, the color for me. It's like color for me. I
At the
find color. Yes,
at
yeah.
the end, even black and white is a color themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Black and white is also
But
colors,
yeah,
and it's basically, you can say, it's all color to me. It's basically very soothing to me. And everyone knows that every photographer, whatever they do, it's first connect to that photographer. So if I am connected with my elements, if I am very much connected with the moment that is happening in front of me, only I can shoot that thing. So I love to shoot in black and white.
Can I add
Thank you.
something?
Yeah, please.
Because mostly I'm shooting in black and white too. So I think that what you said in the beginning, that you try to show us actually the silence in your photos. So I think the black and white and missing the colors helps a lot, exactly to show the silence in your photos. That's my opinion.
Yeah. As I told earlier,
Because this is the reason I'm shooting in black and white too. Colors somehow distracts me. That's why.
Yes, certainly. That's true.
Thank
That's
you.
true. That's true. But it's the part of our personality also, what we
Exactly.
like. So every photographer basically explores his or her personality through his artwork. Whatever the artwork he's doing, either he's doing painting, either he's a music director, or a singer, or a artist, or whatever, or a writer, or a poet. So basically he or she explores his personality through his artwork. So this is the reason. That's why most of my photographs are in black and white. Now, coming to the next one. This is another interesting. So I'm working on a project also from last 1 year. That project name is Voice. Through this, it's a long work. It's a long project. I don't know when this will get completed. Maybe 3 to 4 years more. So this is exactly the pollution in Yamuna River, where the Yamuna is basically going to meet from Delhi. It's basically a border of Delhi and UP. So at this place, this polluted water is creating very disastrous, you can say, the very disastrous soul. It's a threat to environment, completely environment. So when I went to shoot there, on that day, I realized something very interesting as a photographer. And on that day, because of clouds, the sky were totally different. And I try to go, I try to shoot on that day with a lower angle to get connected with the nature, the sky, and all area, and the whatever the things were happening on the ground. So it's just like appearing that a man is cleaning the clouds. Exactly, the story is totally different. So because of this pollution, he was basically cleaning his boat that was completely get covered with the this, you can say, the foam. This foam is basically the polluted water foam. But suddenly it's appear, if anyone don't know what exactly this is, on that condition appear that the man is like cleaning the clouds. Is there any question regarding this image?
No, anyone has any questions on this?
Isn't it dangerous to shoot over here? Like if it's so polluted, how do you manage to
Yeah,
posture
yeah.
yourself in this environment?
Yeah, certainly. It's very difficult to shoot at this place. On that day, I have with my mask also, but unfortunately, when I was shooting on that day, the flow of air was too much. So I completely get wet. And when I returned back to my home, so I took the bath 3 times on that day. So it's certainly is a difficult situation over there to shoot. But still, if you have a project in your hand and you have to shoot, then you have to work.
And is it accessible to everybody, or do you need permission to go to this place?
No. Anyone can go. Anyone can go. Anyone can shoot.
I think the very famous puja happens there, right? Chat puja, what do you call that?
Yeah. Chhat Puja also happened over here, unfortunately. Unfortunately.
I have a question. Hello
Yes.
everybody, Almas here. I just joined now. And the question is that UP mein exactly where is that? I mean, Delhi UP mein at which place? Is it Yamuna, no?
It's Yamuna. It's basically the place is known as Kalindi Kunj.
I live in front of Kalindi Kunj only.
Okay, that's great.
Delhi.
So just so it's a Kalindi Kunj barrage. If you know the
Acha,
Kalindi
Kalindi
Kunj
Kunj
barrage.
barrage.
Yes. So it's just in 100 meter around that barrage.
While going towards Noida, right?
Yes. While going towards Noida.
Okay, very good.
So this is the place.
Thank you.
Most welcome. So coming to the next one, this is, you can say that I have already told you initially, I love nature, I love birds. And this is Jama Masjid. Sometimes people may ask me why you took ground level shot or low angle shots. But my answer is very simple. It's not low angle, it's basically called creative angle to me. So creativity, what exactly when we move with our camera, so when we are in standing position, so it's a very common position through which we shoot. So must, as a photographer, as an artist, we need some creative angles, like maybe sometimes low angle or top angle or from corner angle, to get the proper moment with the complete separation from the background, because the clarity of your elements, those are placed compositionally, they need a balance in the frame. And if you look to my photographs, as Subodh also said, that I love that symmetry, I love, you can say, compositional balance in my frame. You can't find any of my frame tilted to any side. So if at the time of shooting, if I find any type of tilt like left or right, I try to manage that thing in the post processing also. So, but in general, that happened rarely. So every time when I shoot, I try to use my viewfinder, either that is a low angle or either that is a normal angle or that is from the top angle. So this is a very simple photograph. The man is going for prayer. The moment, you can see the birds are flying from the right, and the movement of his legs and hands, all are creating a lot of energy, and all are like traveling toward that mosque, Jama Masjid. So I love such type of moment to shoot. The next, this is from Calcutta. So when I was there in this, you can say, December month, December 2019, I went there for some program and my workshop was there. So during that 3 days stay at Kolkata, Kolkata is a very interesting place to for every street photographer like Delhi. So Again, there is a riverside, and as I said, I love water, I love clouds, I love birds, I love trees. So when early morning I went there, I saw this moment was happening in front of me, and I try to connect those. You can say in the background, if you see, the all elements are separated. There is no overlapping, in fact. And I try to capture. It's all about the moment, the simple moment, the daily life moment. But I love that the two people were in front. They were with the mobile. They're basically recording something, what their friends were doing. Maybe I don't know exactly what they were doing, but that connected with me on that time.
But if I may ask, why was that? Why is this picture not black and white?
Yes, yes. I already told you that when I try to connect with the situation, I in this situation, what on that day, the black and white, when I converted this, sometimes I convert some of my photograph black and white. I left that photograph in color. So this is one of that. So when I converted this photograph in black and white, the background area was getting missed. So see the boats in the background, the last one, the third layer, the first layer, the two men, the second layer, four or five persons were taking part, and the background was completely getting unnoticed on that condition. So I try to extract that third layer through the color in this image particularly.
Understood.
So I want that third layer to be in my photograph. That's why I left this one in color. So it's fine. We're coming to next. So this is one interesting again moment during winters from again Yamuna Ghat, Delhi. Actually, there are so much of things we got connected with. Connected, like the light is always very important in photography. So there are two sources of light over here. If you see, the right side is early morning, the blue light under heavy fog, and the left side there is a man-made light. So basically, I try to divide this frame like 50-50. One with the natural light, one with the you can say the man-made light. And the two different activities. A young man is walking on his mobile on the right side, and the old man is coming out from a house at that ghat. So I try to basically, you can say, the merge these two lights, or you can say also a separation of two lights in half frame in the 50-50 area. And light always attracts me, such a lighting system like natural light and man-made light. Plus, an interesting thing that I am working from, you can say, some years. We know that there are layers in photograph. So maximum time we talk about physical layers. Like in the previous image, there is a physical layer of three steps. Like the first, the two person on mobile, and in the middle there are 5 person, they are taking bath, and the background, the third layer, some boats are be there. But in this photograph, if you see, there is a philosophical layer. And what that philosophy is basically the how the two lights are dividing this frame. The philosophical layer is basically created by the light. One is the cool one, other one is warm one. So a man who is with, you can say in 70s, he is in the warm side, and the young man is in the, you can say, the colder side. So this is for me a philosophical layer that is created by, you can say, the right side by natural light, and the left side, that is the, you can say, the man-made light. And that light was so on that day, the brightness of that light was so, you can say, extraordinary on that day. And this is another from Calcutta again. So there is a curve over there. What I like over there, you can see the curve from right bottom to the left side. There is a complete curve. As Subodh also said, I love those patterns. I love those lines, curve, and the structures. Apart from the moment. So the man was taking bath, and that curve was very interesting to me on that time. So I clicked this moment. So I always go for the simple moment every time, but I try to find some connectivity with that.
There's a good flow in this image from the.
Yes.
Yeah. Like
Yeah, right
continuity.
to left.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, from right to left. And from the same day, from Calcutta, this is another photograph that was very much connecting to me. I went too close to this one, and I took this photograph as 28 mm on that day. I went closer. If you see in Hinduism, when we basically bring the river water in a pot, the shape of hand, see the shape of hand, and how he picked this first pot, and in the background the another person also have the same, but the first person was very interesting. His you can see the clothes and all such things, his posters. I went near to this person, clicked, and immediately come back without reviewing my photograph in front of him. So I was sure I got something on that day. So this was clicked on f14. Generally I keep the ISO at around 800 to 1200 every time, either that is daytime or early morning time. And generally I try to shoot between f9 to f16, you can say. As a street photographer, we know that in street photography, that every element that we capture must be in focus, so that we find a complete connectivity from front to back. So the simplicity of this image, a lady is during winters, and the light of early morning on that day was creating a very interesting situation in front of me. And when that light comes to my eyes, I suddenly realized it's very interesting situation. Very simple but very interesting one. So I clicked this image with the two lights, you can say, from right side the warm light and the left side that is the cool light, and that was separating this frame in two parts and about the moment. And this I took in Muzaffarpur, you can say in January this year. This is the another, you can see there are three layers in this photograph and the background, but I keep this one in color again. Interestingly, the front was creating a very interesting situation to me. Those, you can say, the wood color. And in the background, the man was cleaning that area, but that day was again a foggy day. So background was almost invisible. So what the visible things, I try to connect from front to back, and I clicked. As I told initially, basically through my photographs, I try to present myself. I try to present my personality, what I think, what even my mind thinks. So basically, my purpose is to create some stories. And stories means every photograph must need a starting point. Every story basically needs a starting point and an ending point. And between those start and end point, there are many characters that plays the important role in your photograph, and that becomes a story. So in a form of story, so I look my photograph as a small story every time. Whatever I clicked previously, like this one or this one or this. So I try to draw a story, a small story with my all photographs. So that's why the next slide, there's a very simple things over here, how to write stories through your photographs or images. So I have just written some of keynotes. Should I read them all? Well, it's visible to all.
Yes, yes, it is visible to all.
So just I'm reading from first to last. The first, identify the primary elements, then identify the secondary elements that complements the primary, then search for other supporting elements, like sometimes the trees, the leaves, or the birds. The supporting elements can be apart the human element or the dog or something, and then define the starting point, the leading element, the starting point, where to start reading the photographs. Then end point also, where my story is going to conclude. Then avoid all unnecessary element that is not adding any value to your frame. It means that we have to took a right position, the right angle of shoot, so that we can avoid the unnecessary elements that is not adding any value to our frame. And then give the weightage to the composition that I told you initially. The composition is always very important to me. I give priorities to compositions where all elements positions properly. Always go for figure to ground. Figure to ground is one of the most important part in photography. What type of photography we do, either that is a street, either that is travel, or either that is whatever we do. So the figure to ground is one of the most interesting thing, so that we can get every element properly. Every element that we include must have some value in our composition. So, and avoid all visible overlapping. So this is these are some important points through which we can write stories. So with this, if any query right now, otherwise I will proceed further with some more photographs.
Also, if someone wants to take a screenshot, you can take the screenshot so that you can keep it as a record.
Yes, sure.
Hi, Navin. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hello.
This is Gregorios. I'd like to ask you, like, what major difficulties have you faced in street photography? I mean, are there any
in street photography,
challenges?
Yeah, certainly. As a street photographer, it's always a challenge for a photographer to get the right moment at right time. Because when we missed any moment, it means it's not for us. And our eyes are always on some elements. And when we miss something, it means that element or the moment was not for me. So we have to ready for every fraction of second that what position we have to take. So after identifying some situation in front of us, we have to take the position in a fraction of second, and that fraction of second is very important, because if that fraction of second we are able to click the things, if we are able to capture the moment, then it's fine. Otherwise it's not for us. So the important thing, our mind must be ready for every second. So that's the big challenge, because we can't stage the things. It's unstaged. It's always unstaged. Whatever the things are happening in front of us, that only we are going to capture. We can't manipulate the things. We can't organize the things. So that's the biggest challenge in street photography for me personally. So many times it happened that I'm not be able to capture some moment because on that time I was not ready. So in a street photography, we always see more than 90% time we failed to capture the moment. But that's the beauty of street photography.
And just to add to that, it's a kind of photography where you can't hold back. You know, you need to be ready to dance around the frame. You can't just stand in a place and think everything is going to fall in place. You have to be flexible. You have to run around. You have to crawl around. You have to lie on the ground. Whatever it takes. Yeah, you have to be flexible.
Yes. We have to be flexible.
If you think what people are going to think, then it's very hard for you.
Yeah, certainly. We have to, on that time when we are in a street, we have to keep our, you can say, eye is only open. Our ears are totally soundless. So we are not going to hear what is happening in left or right. Our eyes is totally on our subject. And our mind is basically creating that frame that I told you. The mind means the third eye. So that's very important in street photography. That's the actual...
Yeah, sorry. Continue, please.
So that's the actual challenge of a street photographer, to make his mind or her mind very cool and focused on what he or she wants to compose in a form of a story or in a form of photograph, whatever.
Hi, Naveen.
Hi.
Quick question from my side as well. The second last point of yours says, always go for the figure to ground. Can I request you to explain this a bit more with an example?
Figure to ground.
Yes.
Okay. Now, if come to is this photograph is visible to you all?
Yes, it is.
Now see, from front to back, figure to ground is exactly what? Figure to ground means each element is separated from other one. So first element over here, that lady with that small kid in his lap. The second, that man. The third and fourth are on board. And figure to ground, if you see from left to right, there is a flow. and within that flow, the every element is separated from its background. There is no as such, you can say either left or right or in the middle. So every element is communicating directly to the viewer. There is no such, you can say, like either that is a foam in the background, or sorry, a foam at the bottom, the pollution, and even in last, you can say the building. All are independently visible to everyone, every viewer.
If I may add to that, to the figure
Yes.
to ground, because it's as I told, it's one of the most important aspect which most photographers ignore. Just to put it in other words, figure is nothing but your subject, and background
Yes.
is not. Figure to ground. Ground is nothing but background. The relationship between your subject and the background, the way you separate them, the way you place them in your picture, is what figure to ground is all about.
So we don't have to mix the things. We don't, so that every element should communicate directly to the viewer. So there is no mixing. That is figure to ground. Or you can say, I'm showing now. See this this photograph. It's visible to all.
Yes, Navin, it's visible.
So now see this. So every element, either that front horse or the secondary horse, there is a complete separation from these two, that man, the building, even that ground. So everything is separated from each other. Everything is communicating to the viewer independently. So such situations are called figure to ground also.
In simple words, we can say a black element in a black background will not be visible.
Yeah, certainly. So the background is always very important. As the front is important, the background is also important. So we have to think about the what type of background, what type of foreground we have to going to shoot. That's important. So for the figure to ground, we have to sometimes go a low angle. We have to go from top angle or something. So that's the power of thinking of a photographer, to make their elements separate, a good separation from each other, as well as from the background also. That's exact. Is it okay?
How does color helps to actually separate it from the background? Sometimes color image can actually, so for example, when you convert something to black and white, so two colors we have, right? So we have a challenge in street photography. So don't you think that the color can actually sometimes help you to on this particular aspect of ground?
Yeah, sometimes it's not about color or black and white. It's the color and black and white is totally the vision or choice of a photographer. But sometimes color can also separate. Sometimes black and white can also separate. So I have both type of photograph, the color one also, black and white also. Even I love to shoot in black and white more, but that separation can be possible with color also, like some light color in front, some dark color in the background, and or just vice versa also. So that can be possible in every situation, but that must be an important thing for a photograph. Suppose in another form, suppose I am writing a story. So you can say, when I going to write a story on a page, we need some paragraphs. So there is a first paragraph, second paragraph, or third paragraph. So we try to separate the first paragraph from second. In the same way, in photographs, in images, we try to separate the things, our elements, the thought processes. So that is an important thing in photography also.
Navin, can I ask something else? Do you work always on projects, or you're going out for like single images?
No.
What do you think about this?
No. As a street photographer, it's very common thing. As a street photographer, we don't go directly for the project every time. But yes, simultaneously, I have one or two projects in my hand. My personal project, not assigned from any side. But generally, during a street photography, it's completely you can't say it's project one. But still, yes, if I find something connecting, I try to connect one of my photograph with others, or the third one, or third situation, or other different places. But it's not like that. In a street photography is not a project type of things. But when we are working on a But when you are working on a documentary or something, that like what street photography is all about, the instant moment that we capture. Project means we have some concept in our mind, and with concept we are going out and we are going to shoot. So as a street photographer, there is no concept in mind, just we go out and we shoot whatever the moment we find or whatever moment we connect. But when there is a project, it's totally a different thing. We go with a concept that I have to shoot these things. So there's a big difference between a project work and you can say that a documentary or something, and the street is totally different.
Okay, yeah.
So coming to the next one. So there is this is the another photograph that I took. This is Varanasi. You can say one of the devotional place in India, the Varanasi. And I took this photograph. Interestingly, I saw this boat was tilted, and suddenly I realized like it's adding a different kind of situation in that evening. So I waited for the moment to happen over here. So I'm because of my childhood days, I'm a painter also. I love to draw also. So drawing and painting was my first choice when I was even 5 year old. That's why I work on a concept that is called canvas approach. So canvas approach is basically I took from my own work of you can say the drawing and painting. So canvas means what exactly? So I set some of the thing in front of me, like there is a ready canvas, and I wait for the moment to enter in my frame on that canvas. So this photograph is a simple example of that canvas approach. So when I found this boat, tilted boat was in water on the other side of Ganga River. So I was in water on that time till my, you can say, thigh on that day. And I was constantly waited over here almost for half an hour. And when some of the moments happened in front of me, like this boa came in between the front, and there is another photograph of from this place. A horse was from left. So by using that, you can say the canvas approach, I took some photograph over there on that day, 2 or 3 photographs. So see the diagonal approach in this photograph. And as Subodh also said, by reading my photographs are very simple. My photographs are very, you can say, there is a piece in my images, what I exactly like in my personal life also. So I try to connect with the things, with the simple things, with less number of things. I don't love to shoot in too much crowded area. So I try to find the less crowded area. But this is an interesting one. This is on poster also, Subodhji. As
Yeah, I really love this picture.
yes,
It has a very Raghurai touch.
Yes,
Yeah.
you can say, you can say, because this is very interesting on that day. This I took last year. But when I clicked this photograph, immediately the situation that came in my mind before pressing the shutter was like a photograph of 1970s. So before even clicking this photograph, the thought was I have to convert this in black and white. So a very interesting situation, like there's a goat market during Bakrid. So there is a market near Jama Masjid, and this was suddenly I found with that you can say the bamboo pole he was standing. The another one is just on the right corner, and the old man in the left. And just I picked my camera and clicked this moment. That eye contact was so, you can say, so powerful on that time. So I love such moments also when some sudden eye contact I found with
beautiful.
such background. Sometimes some people also say like it's an environmental portrait also, you can say. Generally I don't click portraits, but environmental portrait are one of the interesting thing that I try to find out something over here. And this is an interesting situation during the Eid festival. So this was very interesting on that day. So I was shooting the Eid festival inside the Jama Masjid premises. And on that day, frankly saying, this is again from last year, I was not be able to find a good frame till the end of that season. But suddenly when all were moving out, I realized a very interesting situation when this man was also trying to capture this last moment of Eid, when all the persons were going out from the masjid gate. And I immediately changed the shutter speed of my camera that was handheld, and this was taken at half of a second. That is 1/2 seconds. It was a handheld. It was interestingly, I was able to capture this moment on that.
Navinji,
Yes.
where was your focal point in this image?
Okay, actually, I took this photograph as f/16. The focal point was as such, like the main target was this person, the man. This man.
Okay, so was it on his face or on his hand?
No, it's like f/16. So it's you can say
Okay.
at f/16 or f/20. So everything is in a focus.
Okay, fine.
So my priority, whatever the space on that day I have. So I was also standing in front of this man, and he was just ahead of me. Just ahead of me. So I took this photograph, you can say from the top, like without seeing the viewfinder or the screen, anything. I just by assuming like I'm at the right posture.
Okay.
So I clicked this photograph.
It was
so
a hit.
Lucky, yes. It's a hit. It's
Okay.
So very simple thing. If your intuition is very much correct, you can get the photograph. So
That's
this
true.
is the,
That's true.
so that intuition was so on that day, so that fit with this moment, and without any type of disturbance, I got this one, you can say. So on that day, I got only one good photograph from out of 2 hours of that whole situation. So this is the photograph that I got on that day. Now see another simple moment, you can say, from that Bakrid festival. In the background, the Jama Masjid is visible, the cloudy sky, and some persons are basically with that goat and all such things. So some of my photograph that you will find with some kiosk also, like this one. Some activities are going in front of me. So when we see some of the such type of photographs on bigger screen, that the actual thought process of a photographer comes in front. But this is again very simple one. Just I try to show the simplicity of that. You can say that Bakrid festival when the people were with goat and all such things. Does everyone know that this festival is Chhat festival?
That bridge in the background is something new, right?
Yes,
Newly
yes,
constructed.
yes. This newly constructed also on that day. Till that day, it was not even completed. So
Okay.
you can see all things. This is the newly constructed signature bridge in Delhi.
It looks like a spaceship.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So on that day, this is a Chhat festival. I was shooting that day. This I took in the evening, and I
It's
found
an
some.
amazing contrast between tradition and technology.
Yes. The two things: the tradition and the new technology. And you can say the elements, how the elements, the vertical elements are communicating with each other. Either that lady, that bridge in the back, and this, you can say, this sugar cane in the right area. And the colors. So I have not converted this in black and white because the color has the power of this image. The color is showing the festival, the power. Even the last image, if you see, like this one, Jama Masjid, the colors are very interesting over here. There are multiple colors. So as I had a talk with Raghurai sir last year, he told me that there was a time when in Jama Masjid, the people were only in white dresses during Eid festival. But now they are in very, very colorful suits in these days. So in last 10 years, the situation totally get changed. So I thought to suit the festival in color. So this is another example of that. So that color was so interesting, the bright yellow in the front. And still, there is no, you can say, no diversion from front to back. Each element, you can say there is no overlapping. There is a figure to ground, and all elements are communicating in between also, and communicating with the viewer also. Now, fine. If any question till now, then I will happy to answer.
I think it's all clear so far.
Should I proceed further?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Okay. So the next because I initially told about the posterity and the thought process through which we click photographs, and then I have talked about the stories. Then I come to the layers. That is always very important in photography. And generally, we all aware about the physical layer in photographs. But from some of the times I'm working on philosophical layer also, and I have already showed you one of my example of a philosophical layer. So basically what the philosophical layer is to me, physical layer, everyone I think aware. So especially I'm going to talk first about the philosophical layer over. So I have just written some of the things about the philosophical layer. So please, you can go with this smaller text. Like philosophy is all about study of various ideas, beliefs, and about the meaning of our existence. It means it's more than science, more than technicalities, and more than the proved theorems. It's a form of artistic, poetic, lyrical study of thoughts that crosses in your path almost every day, but you could not recognize or feel it because of so much of noise around. So what exactly the philosophy I try to explain over here, and I have with some example also further. So if anyone wants to just capture this screen, they can.
Yes, please.
Should I proceed further for the examples of this philosophical layer? What exactly is mean to me?
Yes, ma'am.
So first, the interesting, I have taken a single example for that first. Like every day, when we wake up in the morning with sunrise, or in every evening, that is sunset. So see how philosophy defined sunrise and sunset. Sunrise and sunset is, everyone knows that it's a natural and scientific phenomenon, but its philosophical implementation can be so many ways. Like sunrise can be in philosophy like a start, sunset can be a like end, that can be light or dark, that can be you can correlate it with life and death, rise and fall, force and laziness. Everyone know that early morning we feel fresh, so there is a force over there, and till evening we got lazy. That may be connected with silence and noise, the golden and the blue, the smile or sorrow, that you work or rest or young or old. So just I took some of the example of the understanding how the word philosophy, you can say the philosophical definition of sunrise and sunset. So if sunrise and sunset can philosophically understand like this one, then certainly that can be implemented in photography also. So the philosophical layer are basically a very interesting factor in photography to create emotions, to bring out the emotions from a photograph. I think it's okay to all.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
So this now the first example of this, like you can say the philosophical layer. First, see this photograph closely. This is one of my, you can say, well appreciated and awarded photograph.
I think it's been on National Geographic as well.
Yes, National Geographic. So apart from the moment, the mood, the separation from right to left, the warm color in the right, the blue is shade, the cool in the background, from east to west, you can say. So there is a philosophical layer apart from the physical layer, from front to back. There is a philosophical layer also. So when we add or notice the philosophical layer in our photograph become more powerful, more communicating, more interacting. So as much as the interactivity increases, the photograph has a powerful story, and it has the capacity to stop you to read the photograph for some time. Generally, when we talk about the photographers, like yesterday, we had a very nice session with Mr. Vinit Vora, and probably he also told yesterday that when either that is a print or in exhibition or on you can say, or when we see that on Instagram, we basically look on a photograph and just proceed for the next one immediately. So if a photograph has the capacity to stop your eyes to view the thing or to read the things, so reading is always very important in photography. So as a viewer, as a photographer, it's our duty to make our photograph more and more readable. And as a viewer, it's the viewer's thought process, so that he or she gives some time to understand a photograph deeply, what the photographer has tried to express. Because I love to write smaller stories through my photographs. So certainly that needs some reading for some, you can say, for some seconds at least. So this is I think very clear to understand what the philosophical layer over here is. Is it okay to all?
Yes.
Is this also the Yamuna River?
Yes, yes, it's also the Yamuna River.
Okay.
The same place, the same place. And I took this photograph again in the early morning. So I'm going to the next slide. This again Yamuna River. Again the same place. It's around, you can say, approximately 200-meter area. And that 200-meter area has so much of activities, especially during winters, not every month. So during winters from, you can say, the November to February end. Every year, thousands of migratory birds, the seagulls, comes over here. People love to go on those days at this place. They feed these migratory birds, and some activities you can also find on the ghat, like people are moving, doing some prayers, or so many activities, because it's a very religious place also. And that the religion that you can easily guess over here also. The bells, the hanging bells on the ghat. Again, there is a philosophical layer over here, besides being the different mood that I try to explore over here. So right now, because of a philosophical layer, I took this photograph as an example. The previous one and this one. The another one again here from the same place, the Yamuna Ghat. The same, again, the same place. How the warm light and cold light, the separating or giving the mood for the prayer or the silence, or you can see the two things are happening. One is very silent, other one is very noisy one in the background with the birds creeping, but still the silence you can feel from the front. How the colors are creating a different mood over here, the warm color. You can see the additional layer is created by the light. So
this
I try.
So good, Navinji.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Especially, I like the left one more over here.
Exactly.
Yes, because yes, that is the physical layer is also very prominently visible. Whatever the things are happening at the bottom, that is from Jama Masjid again, and the front is at the. I took this photograph at sunset.
Just a question. You were on a rooftop or something?
Yes. I'm over on here? That day. I'm on. Yes. I'm on that
okay,
day.
so,
I'm on the rooftop.
So this cloth which you used there, it was just there on the rooftop.
No, this is not exactly close on that day, because I'm you know that I'm a Pixel user, that is Google Pixel. So on that day, I'm the part of Team Pixel also. So on that day, we have a get together over here
Okay.
during the Eid festival last year. And there is a member, there a female member with us on that day, and that female member has a very traditional dress she was wearing that day. And because of too much windy weather, so air was flowing in a and suddenly her dupatta, that is called dupatta in India, and
Yeah, yeah,
that
correct.
dupatta, so dupatta get flows in the air, and suddenly I realized one of other colleague also realized the same thing, like it's creating a complete drama. And just I pick my mobile, this is the mobile shot, and just
Okay.
I
Oh, wow.
just I pick my mobile and I click these two moments on
Oh,
that day.
wow. Wow. Amazing.
Thank you, thank you. So I took this image also for you can say the philosophical layer apart the physical layer. Now some examples of physical layer that is very common to all. So there is no need to say too much about these things. So physical layer is common to all. So I have some examples of physical layer also. Just I am going through in a fast way to understand these physical layers. So like
Which is this place in Delhi?
this is Humayun Town.
Quite famous among photographers, I guess.
Yes. Again, say like Yamuna Ghat. This is another place that I
Very
love
popular.
to shoot. Yes, I too love to shoot. I love to shoot Jama Masjid. I love to shoot Yamuna Ghat. I love to shoot this place also. A very peaceful, a very interesting one.
I think why it's very popular is because there's no restriction in taking pictures here.
Yes. You can take pictures. You can take. It's a very big campus actually. A very big campus. And every day, early morning, either winters or in summers, and till 8 a.m. It's a very interesting over here. After that, lot of crowded. You can say after 9, too much visitors over there, and very difficult to shoot on those timing. But early morning, from sunrise to 8 a.m. It's very quiet. So these are just some examples of physical layers. You can see.
I have a question
Like,
here. What are your
yes.
decision on cropping images? Like, I'm not talking about the frame cropping. Cropping
No,
about
no.
the element.
I don't crop my images.
At the time of shoot, like.
Yes. At the time, whatever I shoot, I keep the same thing. So either I have to go front or come to back. So all things are front. Only what I do, I correct the tilt. If there is a left tilt or right tilt at the time of shooting, only that I correct. But in general, at 99% time, I don't crop my.
Any specific reason behind that?
Actually, as a street photographer, it's always our duty as a street photographer, whatever our eye is able to see the things in front. So basically we work with, in street photography especially, we work with a fixed focal length, like sometimes 24 mm or 28 mm, generally with the full frame camera. So I try to go to capture the emotions of the moment very closely. That's why I don't love to. So in street photography, especially, I don't use any type of, you can say the tele photo lenses. It's always a fixed focal length, sometimes maybe 24 mm or 28 mm.
Correct. Yeah.
So
what is what is the general camera and lens you use?
I use Sony. I use Sony cameras.
Okay.
From last 1.5 years, I'm using the crop body of A7 Mark III, and maximum time I use the 28 mm. When I found a proper space, but there are some places in Delhi like a very congested area. So on that condition, I use 24 mm in general.
Yeah, so the prime 24, 1.4,
yes,
1.8.
Yes. Okay. That's 2.8. I use 2.8.
Okay. 2.8. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So this is another, you can say, a photograph of physical layer. That is, again, I took this from Jama Masjid.
Can you just go one picture back?
This one.
Oh, okay. I thought it was another image kept on the.
Oh, yes, this one.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
This is just like again from Jama Masjid. There is a physical layer of so much of things over here, but this is a very simple one. But the mood, the first mood was very so interesting that man was almost in sleeping mode because generally I go early morning to shoot every day almost. So in not in these days. So from almost from last 1 month, I'm at home, not going to shoot anything because of everyone know that all over the world, we all are basically, you can say, under a big stress of this coronavirus. But I generally I go to shoot early morning every day, almost every day. So I took this photograph during Bakrid festival. Just I'm going around this. This is the how the physical layer. That's a very simple physical layer. Only the two things are communicating over here: the posture of this man and the background, the building. Only two things. Nothing more in this image. But that poster, that man was doing some exercise, and in Islam, doing such type of things were slightly surprising to me on that day. So I clicked this moment. That was totally surprising. He was doing some exercise also, and some yoga postures even also. That was so surprising to me, because I have never seen a person who is a follower of Islam is doing things. But it was surprising to me on that day. So that I took this image. And now come to this one. This is another example you can see about the layers, like physical layer of the front, something different in the background. But both one is communicating with each other. The color is adding, the red color is adding so much drama in this image.
Love the
another
composition.
Hello, yes, what?
I just love the composition. Fantastic.
Yes. Thank you. So it was again, as I told earlier, that the photograph that we click, that is a part of your third eye always. Third eye means mind eye, because on that day this bucket was there and at Yamuna Ghat, and the new bucket was placed, and the man who placed this bucket was maybe going to clean the ghat area, the stairs of that ghat. But suddenly what I realized, a very interesting situation, and that I clicked this one. So yes.
Navinji,
Yes.
Is it okay to have the objects closer to the viewer to be out of focus?
Yeah, sometimes it's possible. So like you see this in this, the bucket is almost out of focus, not completely in focus. But here the background was in priority. But this out of focus, the bucket has a very limited area. It's catching a very limited area. It's just catching the 10% of this whole frame. So 10 to 15% you can do, but not more than that.
Yeah, okay. Because I have a few advising me saying that if you have any elements which are closer to the viewer in the front, you should not keep it out of focus. But here I feel the color of the bucket adds a very great value to the image.
Yes, certainly. I also keep that thing in street photography always in mind. The first element, the primary element that is in front of us, that must not be in out of focus. But in this situation, the color was so bright, the red. So even it's slightly out of focus, it's presenting its value.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
It's more or less like know the rules and then break the rules.
Yes, certainly.
Yeah. So another question I have.
One of the most beautiful way of breaking the rules.
Yeah. So I have a question over here regarding the composition. Yes, why is the bucket handle on top?
Bucket handle on top. It was exactly positioned as it is. As I told earlier, in street photography, we never touch our elements. Whatever we see, that we click. And that is a good cover. If you say that is creating a cover, that is creating a inside frame.
Okay.
The arc shape adds a fantastic value to the image.
Yes. If you see, it's the bucket area itself creating a rounded shape. The bucket handle is creating a half rounded shape. And because of that rounded shape, the boatman inside that is completely almost in center.
Okay.
So if we consider this photograph from every diagonal area, that is from every corner, from top or right, if you draw a line, so every line is going towards what exactly? To the boat, from this corner like this one.
And also the reflection of the three birds inside the bucket is also amazing.
Yes, in the bucket water.
Okay. Cool. Thanks.
This is again from Jama Masjid, a very simple one. I took this photograph 3 years back. And see the physical layer over here from front to back. Interesting one, very simple one. As I told earlier, that my photographs are very simple, not complicated. And as a photographer, I give the priority for the simplicity, so that it reaches to everyone to understand. I don't complicate my photograph unnecessarily. Even I try to simplify the things in a photograph. If there is any complication I try to simplify. The art is basically, art means the simplification. It's not the complication. Now come to this photograph. This is another one of my photographs that was awarded by Nat Geo as well as Sony World Photography 3 years back. So this is again Humayun Tomb. You can see a very interesting physical layer over here from front to back. The flowers in the first layer, the man in the second layer, the trees, the palm trees in the third layer. The fourth layer is interestingly that Humayun Tomb structure, and the fifth layer is exactly simply that fog, the winters. So in photography, the layers, and if you see the whole photograph, it's as per rule. Even when we follow the rules and we don't break the rules, still it's following almost every rule. The figure to ground, the separation from background, no overlapping, the layers and everything almost. So if there is any question, then till now, I will love to answer that.
Anyone? Any questions? Doesn't seem so. It's very clear.
Yeah. So I proceed further.
Please.
Yes, please. Yeah.
This is another same place, the Humayun Tomb, but as I said just a few minutes back, I love to shoot this place. And this is from, you can say, the rainy season. I took this photograph in August month during rain. The lady was running to save her from rain, and I took this photograph. And that day was very interesting to me. There is a back story of this photograph. On that day, I was in this premises from early morning and not be able to get in good frame as per my thought. But suddenly when the clouds came and the rain started, I got this frame. It's a very interesting one for me on that day. There is a complete pattern over here, the structures, symmetry, the leading lines, the leading element, and everything, it's totally on place. And as Subodh also said, I love those symmetries. My eyes actually try to find symmetries, and when I'm not be able to find those symmetries or the elements as per my thought, I never press the shutter button. So many times I ignore so many situations because that was not as per my thought. So this is the one situation that was very close to my thought process. So I clicked on that moment. Even I waited for something like this one to maybe happen on that day. Then after the wait of 4 hours, that was the interesting day for me. So I got these clouds and the rain, heavy rain on that day, and I took this photograph.
Navin, would you shoot in color and then change it to sepia or black and white, or this is how you shoot?
No, generally I shoot in color, but a thought before just clicking the scene or whatever the situation in front of me, in 80% time, I previously I have a thought that I have to convert in black and white or I have to leave in color. So when on that day I clicked this photograph, there was a thought that I have to convert it in black and white. Anything else?
Sir, the color version also must be beautiful. Because the red bricks and then the clouds must be gray and maybe the lady is wearing white.
But that day, that color was distracting. If you see this photograph in black and white, everything comes in symmetry. Either the foreground or the background, either that lady is running in white dress, because that lady was in white dress, completely white dress. So So I keep this photograph in black and white to separate that lady that was in white dress. Even the sandal she was wearing that day was white color. So she was completely in white and very tall lady.
Maybe maybe in colors you would just get lost.
Yes, certainly. So in color, maybe the other things maybe comes in priority, like clouds, maybe slightly the bluish type of cloud was there, and the reddish structure. But the exact moment would get lost on that thing. So I converted this in black and white to get the exact communication. What actually the photography is what exactly author wants to tell something. What the things going in his or her mind. So this is the same thing. What I want to tell, what I want to say through my photograph, what I want to convey through my photographs. That's why I converted this in black and white.
It's beautiful, sir. It's beautiful.
And what level of editing have you done on this photo?
Editing is what just converted. I use Lightroom only. And whatever the things I convert something like color to black and white, or so you can say just in Lightroom, whatever the tools are available, I use that one. I don't do much editing in my photographs. I don't.
You touched up the clouds also with a filter, maybe?
No filter, nothing.
Okay.
All are original. Just a correction of some light, like shadows, and you can say the highlights. Or in black and white, when we come to black and white, we use some sliders to reduce the colors of black and white, like in red or green or something. So, but not in this photograph. This photograph was totally clean, not too much colors, because all the building color was slightly reddish one. So that I converted in black and white.
And on another note, I'm intrigued that an hour and a half in the session and we've not seen a single drone shot. Have you?
No. I don't use drone. I don't use drone. I believe on my eyes directly and through the viewfinder.
Oh, so what about that boat in green places and all shots?
Yeah, where?
On your Instagram, there is greenish water and a single.
So that is taken from a bridge. That is taken from a bridge.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
That is taken. That is the place is the two places that I clicked. One at in UP Barsana, and that is from you can say a temple terrace, and another one I took at Muzaffarpur in my hometown Bihar. That is from a bridge. So I don't use drone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now I'm going to show you two photographs, a very interesting one of the same place, same time, almost same time, but slightly a different thought. Just see these two photographs. The first one, overexposed. The second one, properly exposed. Why this photograph today I am sharing with the overexposed one and the properly exposed one, the interesting one. The same situation, two clicks one after another. One is overexposed because it's also creates some different story. So sometimes people say it's high key or low key, but this is exactly overexposed one slightly, but the actual elements are at place. The minimalistic approach over here, and see the difference in these two situations. Just a fraction of second was there when the man was the two persons are coming down from. So if there is any question over here, then I will be happy to answer with these two photographs especially.
I think they are clear.
Okay. So coming to the next. This photograph I took at again the Yamuna river, and I have given like a title to this photograph, like personality versus character. In a single image, that man was praying early in the morning and under the dense fog of winter, and the reflection inside water. There's so many times the people ask me, is it photoshopped or something? So it's a completely, that nothing is retouched in photograph. All are original one. Each and every bit is original one. So that reflection, so this is taken at, you can say completely at water level, completely at water level, the complete silence under complete silence, that I love to shoot.
Beautiful.
It's beautiful. This is the simple one, simple moment. This photograph also got so much of recognition at so many places and awards. Coming to the next, maybe I got the queries regarding this photograph that is taken from drone. So this is taken at Barsana, UP. I took this photograph from Temple Terrace.
Yes, that's the one I was referring to. Yeah.
Yes. This is another conceptual photograph of from my side about the body and soul. So just with a slow shutter speed on that day, I realized a situation. So as a photographer, as I told earlier, that our mind is basically creating stories. We see elements through our two eyes, but our mind is always creating a story from those elements that we identify with two eyes. So when the third eye starts working, exactly that is the photograph. That exactly the image that we want to show, that we want to capture. And this is the same thing on that day when I found some of the birds were, you can say, the flying and some were taking rest. Suddenly I realized a thought, philosophically a thought came in my mind about the body and soul. And so this is again a handheld image taken from the roof of a building from Yamuna River. And with probably it's 1/6 of the second, I took this one. This is again the street dog, a very simple photograph that I love. Sometimes the simplicity is very catching to me, and I try to find some interesting mood of that dog. So I click this one. Maybe the dog is thinking what to do with these elements that is on the ground. This is another photo image from Yamuna Ghat. The two things are simultaneously the human interface, the human, you can see the area where we are performing some type of rituals, in the birds, in the water, and the two sides are separating from each other. The two, you can say the two life, one is nature, one of human beings are there simultaneously. So such situations always attracts me. This is another simple frame from that place. So when we talk about the physical layers, there are so many connecting things are very important in photography. So with this photograph, what I try, there are, you can say, almost 3 important layers in this physical layer, especially in this photograph, as far as the posture of that hand pump, the handle of that hand pump, and the man in the back on the boat, especially, has the same posture, almost the same posture. So the situations are very interesting in street photography. We have to make ourselves very much ready to when to press the shutter, when to get the moment, when to write the story. So it's very important in street photography always. As street photography, we all know it's all about moments. This is another photograph recently I took in the month of January this year, before the lockdown. And as just I am declaring, I'm also the mentor at Tamron India. So the Tamron recently has a new lens, is 20 mm, f2.8, and they sent me just to get some photographs from that to use that lens. So this photograph is taken with the 20 mm f2.8 for my Sony camera. And on that day, again the interesting thing, I wait for the moment. I try when I try to observe the things. So always there is a thought in mind to get the best out of those observations. So suddenly I realized this situation and I click this moment. So if any query regarding this.
What place is this?
This is again Humayun Town. Okay. This is Humayun Town. in Delhi, New Delhi. So that man was actually doing some exercise, and suddenly this dog came in front of him. And by realizing this interesting situation, I clicked this moment.
Is there a reflection like that there?
Yes, yes. This is the reflection. This is a pond. There are 4 water bodies in that campus, and all 4 corners of Hubei town. And this is the water body. And early morning, it's very silent. So that's why, because no fountain was on that time, was in operation mode. So it's very on that particular. This is all about the observation. When to click, where to shoot, what to shoot, and all such things.
Because I've seen many of your pictures with this reflection.
Yes, yes. I love those things. Yeah, I love those things. I love those things for my story. If you see this photograph very closely, you will find a story of 2. That is 2 trees, the 2 benches, the reflection, even the creating the 2 things from top and bottom. There is a separation of frame also, and the 2 elements, the 2 important elements, one human being and one is dog. So there is a story. The 2 birds are also, if you see in a bigger, larger screen, the 2 birds are also visible in the right. So there is a story of 2 over here with the reflection. So coming to the next. So see, these are some of my photographs with some thought process, like again Yamuna Ghat, this bird was flying and was taking rest on the water surface area. And what I realized, the thought came a unique thing. So if you have a unique approach, so you should be different from others. So just a thought that I try to capture over here. You can say the philosophical things.
So when it comes to birds and water, do you click on continuous mode, or it's just
no? Yes. It's always a one. I never use burst mode or continuous mode. I always a single click every time.
Okay. Thank you.
So this is, you can say, the gully cricket. Usually, people in India love to play this game everywhere. So on that day, when I realized something is very interesting, when this things were happening in front of me, I waited for the right moment and clicked this.
I think the ball,
yes.
The ball which is visible adds so much. Yeah.
Yes.
That small dot adds so much.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. The poster of this man, actually he missed this ball.
Yeah.
The interesting thing he was doing, he was trying to hook every ball for a 6, but every time he missed. And this is the moment that I get. He missed. The ball was in the back of him. Because of that ball. What the interesting thing over here is because of that missed ball. If you see, the wicket keeper's hands are very interesting posture. That hand, like in catching position. So always the smaller moments, the hand moments, all are very important in street photography. So that's the interesting part of this. You can say the simple image. This is another one from Jama Masjid area, early morning.
This is beautiful.
Yeah, I love to shoot the silence. So every time, what exactly my thought process goes, somewhere when I was reading about some big photographers of 60s and 70s. So I found a quote over there by some renowned photographer, a photograph says thousands words. But frankly saying, to me, if every photograph is going to say 1,000 words, then where is the silence? So my particular purpose is to show the silence, not the 1,000 words, not the so loud voice every time is required to show through photographs. So then who will portray the silence of a photograph, silence of the story, silence of the situation, silence through a frame. So my purpose is just opposite of that. I don't try to show those, you can say, the 1,000 words through my photographs. That may be 1,000 words, but they come silently. So I try to find out the silence in my photographs. So this is the example you can say for that. This is another one, a simple thing I took during winters from a rural part of Bihar. This is some interesting situation I found. And as a street photographer, we sometimes connect with some very simple thing, interesting thing, the four birds in the background, the white color, and then the front, this is the horse. Even the patches, the black and white was so interesting. That was complementing each other. So I clicked this one.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, this is the another one. I try to capture the mood of winters with this, the old man in front. The center, there is a person, and the left side, the tree branches, and all are communicating with each other diagonally from top left to right. You can say right bottom, and so there is no negative space. The all spaces that is called the breathing space over here. So that breathing space is creating a very good drama in whole frame with all just three elements. You can say so very minimal elements. I again tried to capture the silence through this image. Like this one, an interesting situation from India Gate, Delhi. So there are so many photographs. There is an interesting thing that I am working that I love to share over here. That is the fourth dimensional approach in photography. So just I am giving a slight overview that what exactly the fourth dimensional means to me. It's an unpredictable dimension that freezes future moments, means the moment that is going to happen next. And the most powerful intuition where failure rate is very higher, almost 99.9%. But if it's executed properly, you can create a master frames. So I insist to go out and do this experiment almost regularly. So it's just what I'm experimenting these days when I go to shoot. I try shoot with this concept of fourth dimension, where we have to be more faster than you can say it's a part of street photography, but we have to be more sharper, we have to be more faster. But there is a failure rate also. Like I said, just 99.9% we fail to execute properly because sometimes our eyes or thought process are not so faster to capture the moment that is going to happen. It's just I'm taking an example for that. See, so anyone can ask this question regarding this my thought process, this photograph.
Anyone with a question?
This is with the fourth dimensional approach.
I think we're all waiting for your explanation.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
The legs of the person who's on the rod, was it intentional or you just it got captured in the photo instead of just the shadow and the person who is standing, instead of capturing just that?
Yeah, actually, so this whole frame is complete frame that you are seeing. So I have captured this intentionally. Intentionally, the legs were cropped at the left. Even whole body is cropped except that leg area, because that man was complete in a shadow. And the right side, a man who is standing in the right in this frame is also communicating something with the other person, and the face of that other person is in the bottom. You can see the shadow. So the communication is well defined where this man is seeing. Plus the man who is on this pole is doing some exercise early in the morning. They are traditional wrestlers exactly doing some practice, and that shadow. So this what I called the fourth dimension over here, to understanding how to write story without showing every element, the visible element, because my eyes was able to see the person who is on the rod. I was able to see the person in front of me, the standing one, even the right side, the man who is talking. But what story I want to tell, that is only the part of this frame, the whole frame you can say. So it's a fraction of second of moment that what I want in my frame. Why not everything? So there is a suspicious thing. You can say a thing that make the viewer to think why this is, why not this is. So these interesting things always make your photograph more audible, more readable. So people will wait on that photograph, why photographer has cutted these things. So you can say there is a story in this photograph that attracts you, that make you wait, that make you think why this is not, why this is, what the photographer want to show, what the photographer is want to convey. So when we left some of the things to think by the audience is the interesting part as a photographer for us.
Okay.
So any more query?
I had asked you a question before about cropping. It was not about the frame cropping. I was asking about now when it comes to portrait photography, we used to say that we should not crop the fingers, we should not crop this and that. So when it comes to street photography, do you have any such roles, or you have so much liberty to do whatever?
Certainly, in street photography, basically, as a street photographer, we basically try to show only those exact moments, those are important to us, and we try to hide the unnecessary element that is not adding story or value. Or sometimes we try to add like a cropping of legs or something to create the mystery in our, so that it can so the audience will be try to find what the things are going over here. So that's why we do such things. The street photography is totally different from other zone where we try to show everything to the audience. It's not like a landscape or not like travel. In travel photography, we have to the main priority is on the place. So we have to show everything over there. But here we can crop the things to create the mystery, to create the story, to make the people think on that, what is exactly happening. So we take this liberty of cropping the things like that at the time of shoot even.
All right, let's continue, please.
You can say with some more example of this fourth dimension. So this is another example from the same place almost, and where the shadow is playing the role, the color, the background color, the yellow color is also playing in some moments. This is the another, you can say, the example of that fourth dimension, where the unpredictable things, the things that is going to happen next, we have to make ourselves ready with a proper angle also. See, the dog is exactly communicating with me, like the dog is asking to me, why you are clicking. So we have to be ready with our camera to capture some moments, such moments. And the dog is very communicating to me, and probably the audience too. So this is what exactly fourth dimension to me. So the dimension that is the things that is going to happen in the next fraction of second. So we have to make ourselves ready to capture that moment. So apart from 3, X, Y, and Z dimension, there is a fourth dimension that is unpredictable. So unpredictable things that is going to happen next is fourth dimension to me.
I have a question.
Yes, sure.
For dimension images, most of the time your subject would be in the state of motion. Like there is a movement, whatever examples I saw just now.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, certainly. Fourth dimension means we everyone know that 3 dimension, that is X plane, Y plane, and Z plane. It's a fixed one. But the fourth dimension is directionless, means that is going to happen maybe in any direction, maybe slightly in front of you, maybe in the back of you, the left, right, or up, anywhere. But if you are ready to capture that moment, it means your mind is basically predicting what is going to happen next in fraction of second, even in fraction of second, and that must be very much communicating. So you have to be ready in that particular posture, or you can say either that is a low angle or top angle or whatever the angle you want to shoot, but that must be very much communicating. Like this dog, it's communicating to me exactly. It's seeing to me in my camera exactly.
Got it.
So that is the fourth dimension.
Clear.
Thank you. And next, that is some final words from my side about photography, or you can say the street photography. So there are some important points, like keep your mind's eye active all the time. It's very important in photography. Apart your two eyes, if your mind's eye is not active, then you can't be able to capture the right moment, because it defines your photograph. The second point is identify the right subject and stay with the subject with patience. So you need a complete patience. You have to be observant and only be able to find the right subject. Get it closer to catch the emotions behind. As initially I told during this whole session, like I try to go near to my subject. I don't use telephoto lenses in street photography. So as much as you will closer to your subject, you will closer to your stories. Find the right angle to shoot to extract the exact story, and look around the subsidiary subjects that relate to main subject. Some more points. Give weightage to composition. So apart moment, the compositions are always in my priority. So I give maximum weightage to the compositions always. And the seventh point, the look for extraordinary moments that can't be produced again. So always in street photography, it's very interesting that it's all about moments. So we have to go for extraordinary moments that can't be going to happen again. Believe your imagination. Personally, what I believe, your imagination is much more important than your knowledge in photography. And how your imagination is, you can improve your imagination. This can be possible with good reading, observation, and only then you can imagine the situations that is going to happen in front of you. So imagination is more important in photography. Always be more aggressive in your work, aggressive in your approach. That you have to think what others are thinking about you. It's not important. What you are thinking on that situation, then where you are standing, what you have to click. So you have to be more aggressive on yourself. And the most important, the true to yourself. As a street photographer, everything is on a stage. So you have to true to yourself, whatever you are clicking. So these are some of the things about photography or street photography, you can say. And this is the final slide of my presentation from today.
Thank you so much, Navinji.
Yeah, most